So having a bunch of money by yourself is not very fun. So hopefully that'll help you find someone, if you haven't already, to share that with. It is with great pleasure. I want to introduce our speaker tonight. If you want to come up, Phil. I was asking Phil earlier today how long we've known each other, and he said 10 years. And I was like, that's true. Oh my goodness, it's been a long time. You know, time flies. I've known Phil and his family for this time, and we know a lot about his family as well, but I learned some things when I was reading your bio that I didn't know about you. And I knew, so this is pretty astounding because I started looking at this. It said he's a 49-year veteran of the system. 49 years. Wow. So 49 years with McDonald's. So what was your first job?
I started on being a crew person at a restaurant for a couple of weeks, and then I went to an assistant manager position.
Okay. And then
Manager trainee back in those days.
man, your fries must be addictive. That must be what it is. I think your wife would say it's your Diet Coke, but yeah. So then you went from basically being in that McDonald's corporate, and you started off in operations in Chicago. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I actually started operations in Oklahoma, and then I moved to Texas and operations, and then back to Oklahoma, then to Chicago, then to Connecticut. So I've been all over the US and different positions at every level actually of the company.
And then you became the MECOPCO general manager, responsible for 800 company restaurants in the central division. 800 restaurants. So what I'm hearing is that you learned all the tips and tricks on operations and how to have excellent operations. Would you say that that is the make or break for the franchises?
Yeah, people and operations.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the people are the ones that do the
Yeah,
operations,
that.
but yeah. And then you became, which is impressive to me because of course I'm in commercial real estate. Then you became the executive vice president overseeing worldwide real estate construction and restaurant design, as well as providing leadership and guidance to support the Worldwide Development Board. Wow.
That was my last position.
That's
with the company.
impressive. So how did you travel a lot, or did you see a lot of
Yeah,
people who traveled?
I did the roadmap for the development for China. It was my last kind of big project. So we mapped out 5,000 stores we wanted to build in China and where we wanted to build and how fast and where, and how does it work in China with the drive-throughs and non-drive-throughs, all that kind of stuff. So
Wow. So I understand that McDonald's has a rule, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that if you work in corporate, you can't own a franchise. Is that correct?
no, you can
You
apply.
can apply?
You can apply and just,
But can you do both at the same time?
no, that's the rule.
That's the rule.
Can't be a franchisee.
You've got to pick one way.
Yeah.
So when did you retire? And is that what brought you to to Florida? Essentially, that's where my beginning of my relationship with you is when you moved here from Florida. So what happened in Florida and what did you do?
Well, my last couple of years at McDonald's, there was a large franchisee in Dallas that was selling, he had 63 restaurants. So I had a great position, good job, good boss, loved the company. And, but I was getting to the age where I should be looking farther ahead. And so I said, hey, I'm going to go buy some of the stores in Dallas if I can get approved. And that's when I kind of once you turn your name in for that, your career is kind of over. So you got to be sure that what you're doing. And so that didn't work out, but then we ended up buying some stores in Florida, and then we were there around 4 years, and then we found the opportunity in Nashville, and we moved here for that.
But not by yourself.
No, I took 21 people with me, so
That
family.
so I think that the thing that I want to really emphasize for tonight is with that legacy and creating a life by design and through hard work. If anybody has ever worked in fast food, it's not an easy thing. And there's the people part, especially, that's really, really difficult. But you brought along your wife, obviously, but your sons and your son-in-laws and your sister-in-laws, and now all of your, your kids. And so tell us about that. How did you do that?
Well, when the kids were young, we'd sit around the dinner table and I'd kind of joke and say, someday we're gonna own a McDonald's. And I'd say, Chad, you're gonna work French fries, and Clark, you're gonna work Vicky's gonna, clean the toilets, just kind of joking around. And we had, over several years, I kind of planted the seed that maybe someday we could do that. And then the minute I pulled the trigger, they were all lined up to come. So I guess I planted the seed early, and they saw the
Parental brainwashing.
Yeah.
We tried that with our 4 sons with commercial real estate. We sent our oldest and his wife to real estate school, and unfortunately, I was too cheap to pay them very much, and somebody else, they got all their training, and then my daughter-in-law got hired by a title company who paid her twice as much as what I was going to pay her. So then I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna let you go do that. But I was like, ah. And then we had our younger 2 do internships with us, and they ended up coming, and one of them has ended up coming on board with us. So I'm trying to be like Phil, but apparently I didn't do a good enough brainwashing job. So how many are in your family are employed right now in your business?
Well, everybody in my family is employed in the business, except maybe the grandkids. So,
For now. Yeah.
And
Isn't that
and
impressive?
I have a daughter that's she does a little bit of work at home, but she's not real active, but everybody else is pretty active.
Well, and it's
Takes a
her.
village to run these restaurants and all the problems associated with it.
So I know you have a presentation. I want to let you have some time to talk about that. And then after you're finished with that, then I want to ask you some more questions.
Okay,
Is that okay?
Great.
So.
Yeah, I don't want to be boring up here, so we'll start out. I got like a 1-minute little video here, and then we'll get into the presentation. And it's only like 10 slides, so it's not heavy.
Believe it or not, more than 8 people
Hi, welcome to McDonald's. I want to buy you that hoy.
have worked at a McDonald's, all entrusted with the world's most famous fries. They won with the power to make more kids' days than anyone else. Who's seen a person running late meal, celebration meal, pre-game meal, and post-game meal? For that, no matter how long you've been here, no 2 days at McDonald's are the same. More than 8 also know that a job with hours that work around your life means more time for your life.
Okay. Who can tell me about the food?
That what you put in here,
Almost
you get out. And the communication, flexibility, and precision you learn here are skills you always have. That you can grow from here or keep growing here. Where you start stays with you. And when the needs start at McDonald's.
So, the 1 in 8 people in America that have worked for McDonald's,
Got places to wait.
and you go,
Wait in line. at
if I was asked how many people in here, right, has worked at McDonald's, or one of their family members or one of their relatives, probably a good chance that there's some McDonald's people out there. So you look at Jeff Bezos. Anybody know him?
Yep.
He credits a lot of his work ethic to McDonald's. And-
Phil, you're gonna need to stand in front of this
Yeah.
chair so that they can.
Okay. Jay Leno, you hear all this, Sharon Stone, a lot of actors and actresses have started at McDonald's. Government officials have worked at McDonald's. Carl Lewis, the famous track star, worked at McDonald's. So there's like, if you Google it, there's like 40, 50, 60 really well-known people that have started at McDonald's. And So it's kind of fun to look at that and see some successful people. So I'm Phil Gray, owner operator, 40 McDonald's restaurants. If you draw a circle around Nashville, I'll go into that in a minute, but it's all local. This is kind of what I'm going to cover today, so I can go as slow or as fast on these topics. So I'll talk through kind of my McDonald's career. We covered some of that. My huge real estate empire, we'll talk about that, which is not much. Financial, other investments, and personal. So we can kind of go through that. I don't know if you want to stop at the end. Let me get through
Yep,
this.
we do.
But in McDonald's, to become an owner operator in the franchise, you have to be owner operator. So that means you have to be full-time, best efforts, or they'll, you won't last in the system. So 95% of my work and thoughts and should be towards the business and not diluted to other businesses. So I have to be very careful to stay focused on the McDonald's and do businesses that I can do, mentoring and other things on a, like a 10% basis effort. So constructions, we have, a lot of remodels. McDonald's has refreshed the brand. In fact, I woke up this morning and said, I only 40 stores, only have like one left to remodel. So that's good because it costs. We're constantly doing rebuilds, relocations. I'm currently relocating the site in Mount Juliet, off the highway and towards Mount Juliet. So there's a lot of development type projects that go on. I think, we've remodeled 38 stores over the last 2 or 3 years. Added drive-throughs, increased the kiosk in the restaurants, traffic flow, double drive-throughs, anything that increases the business, we work at it. Store acquisitions, currently, we expanded there's an operator in Clarksville that we purchased 3 restaurants from. And in McDonald's, if you're qualified to buy, there's a label they put on you, and that is like a very important label. That means that you're meeting the standards of the company and that you are given the magic wand if a store comes up that you can bid on it. If you're not on that list, you can't buy anything. So we all try to stay in good standing with the company. Training center, I'll cover that in a minute. I'm building we have 1,800 employees that work for us. And we've grown so much that we've grown out of our facility. So we're building a new kind of office training center. I'll cover that in a minute. We have all the departments that a normal business would have. Operations, which is the biggest department. I have probably 30 or 40 people on supervisory, department heads, director of operations. We have a training department. McDonald's believes in a lot of training on our people. That's why I'm building the training center. We have free college education for our employees if they work 15 hours or more for us. So they can go online and get a free education and get a free high school diploma if they don't have one. We have a deployment. There's always something new in McDonald's, so you have to keep up with it. So we have a deployment department. And also we have a back office staff that handles all the payrolls and the human resource issues. So kind of covered that. We have our own Graco Cares. I'll cover that a little bit, but we have a whole program where if an employee needs money right like tomorrow, they can come in and meet with us and they get an automatic $500 loan if they've worked for us for 6 months or a year. We have about 250, 300, 400,000 out at any given time to help our employees. So we go beyond that. We've purchased cars. We even purchased a house for an employee and they rented it, we rented it back to them. So we really try to take care of our people because in the fast food industry, very, very hard to staff restaurants.
Mhm.
You try to get somebody come in at 5 a.m, or you get somebody come in at 2 o'clock at night, work all night. I mean, you have to do somersaults to get that kind of people to work for you. McDonald's standards are very strenuous. When you go as a customer, you probably go, oh, McDonald's, I got fast or slow or whatever, but we have third-party inspections constantly. I'll probably have over 500 or 600 visits a year in my restaurants by mystery shoppers, McDonald's representatives, health departments, government agencies. I mean, it's constant. Every day I get inspected somewhere. So we really have to be on our tiptoes on keeping the standards there. So I think sponsorships, we sponsor a lot of high schools, a lot of teams, normal things that you would do. The police department, we do coffee with the cop, teacher appreciation breakfast. We give a lot of like BOGs, we call them gift cards or cone cards to dentists, schools, churches. And we have, give you an example, McGavick High School. They did on my orientation film for my company, their AV class. And,
That's awesome.
the video turned out fabulous. And they were filming inside the restaurants with all the lights and cameras and editing, and they did the whole project. And it was just a tremendous community involvement, business involvement with the local school. So a little bit about my career. 1976, we covered the vice president. Started in Florida with 6 restaurants, and then I added $1 million worth of sales on each restaurant, and I doubled the bottom line. And then I took that money and parlayed with a 1031 exchange back then, and made my down payment for 21 restaurants here in Nashville. So I think Trump closed that loophole on franchises doing that now. But anyway, now we operate 40 restaurants. One of my things on business, I guess it relates there, people take a look at opportunities and they start fine tuning and seeing why they can't do the deal, or it's too much. The interest rates are too high. In fact, I did a video on this subject a couple of weeks ago for the corporation, actually. And every restaurant I have purchased, almost every one, I have overpaid for. So that was never, an issue for me. There was deals that sat on for 2 years and nobody would do it, and then I come in and do it in a weekend because I can see potential. I can see sales. I can see how I can multiply a business and transform a business and get more customers. So my whole thing is, yeah, you got to be smart about your investments, but don't pick it apart and talk yourself out of a good deal when you see potential there. This is my new training center. It's actually 80% done, 90% done. It's right next to my office. The first floor, it's kind of a unique project in Nashville, so all the real estate market here. The comps and all the other stuff that people look, the banks. The first floor is for my business, and it's going to be a training center. It has 2 huge training rooms that open into one. Can hold 300 people. State-of-the-art AV, best AV you can find around here. Drop-down screens, the cameras that follow the people, everything. So it's going to be really, really, really good. And I'm going to lease that space out to other small businesses and events, and I can.
And we're hoping to be one of those people for our March 15th
Yeah, it's
event. So it was we anticipate that our March 15th Accelerate conference is going to be at his center, which is kind of fun.
So we'd love to hold, and we have a catering area in the back, and then we have our corporate workout facility is going to be in the side here. I have 4 units on the back of the building. It's going to be daily, weekly, monthly short-term rentals. To your point. And then I have 16 apartments on top, so it's 8 on each floor. So I started out with my training center and I ended up with this building. So